This is how each primary monkey in BTD6 changed from the previous game BTD5. We'll start with the Dart Monkey. We have the simple things like it went from 1 pierce to 2 and got a massive visual rework, but we'll be focusing on its upgrades. In BTD5, each monkey only has 2 paths you can go down, and in these paths there are 4 upgrades. In BTD6, every monkey has 3 paths, each with 5 upgrades, so things have been split up, changed, removed, and or added to each monkey. The Dart Monkey's paths in BTD5 were all over the place. It started with getting extra attack range and camo detection, to changing his attack style from darts to high pierce catapults in the Spikapult and Juggernaut. These are great at taking out dense packs of balloons, and the Juggernaut gets extra damage to ceramics, but the upgrade order did feel a bit janky. Combine this with the fact that the Dart Monkey's bottom path starts with 2 upgrades that give extra pierce, then the tier 3 hard pivots over to triple darts, which lets him throw 3 darts at a time instead of 1. And the path is rounded out with Super Monkey Fan Club, which gives him an ability that makes up to 10 nearby Dart Monkeys turn into Super Monkeys for 15 seconds. All of these are good upgrades and fun to use, but neither path flowed that well, and that's the theme of BTD6's changes. They make each upgrade path have a specific purpose instead of just putting cool or fun ideas in there. The first change they made was turning his top path to revolve around pierce. It starts off with the sharp shots and razor sharp shots upgrades from BTD5's bottom path, then goes into the Spikapult and Juggernaut. This is a lot more consistent as each upgrade does better and better versus large groups of balloons. And then Ninja Kiwi added a tier 5 upgrade called the Ultra Juggernaut. Tier 5s are made to be the ultimate balloon poppers and bring the monkey's power to the next level. Here, the Ultra Juggernaut shoots giant spiked balls that bounce off walls, can re-hit balloons, and split into 6 Juggernaut balls after some of its pierce is used. As for the middle path, 3 of the upgrades are new. The first 2 increases attack speed by 17.6 and 33%. Then it uses 2 BTD5 upgrades in the Triple Shot and Super Monkey Fan Club, both of which were pretty much untouched. And for the new Tier 5 upgrade, Ninja Kiwi added the Plasma Monkey Fan Club. This transforms the club leader and up to 20 of the nearest Dart Monkeys into Super Monkeys that shoot Plasma Blasts instead of darts. And the bottom path revolves around extra range and a new attack. It opens with long range darts and enhanced eyesight from BTD5, giving the Dart Monkey more range and the ability to see camo balloons. But then 3 new upgrades are brought in: Crossbow, Sharpshooter, and Crossbow Master. These replace the dart throwing attack style to shooting a crossbow, and all 3 of these upgrades add attack range, speed, damage, and or pierce to each attack. And maybe the biggest addition of all is its Paragon. These are new to the Bloons franchise, but are the best balloon poppers we have. To make one, you combine all 3 tier 5s of a specific monkey to get their ultimate form. For the Dart Monkey, it's the Apex Plasma Master. This guy fires a massive crossbow that rapidly shoots 3 Plasma Ultra Juggernaut balls that deal enormous damage, especially to ceramics and bosses. Next, we have the Tack Shooter. In both games, it shoots 8 tacks, each of which have 1 pierce and 1 damage. But in BTD5, it shoots every 1.66 seconds, whereas in 6, it shoots every 1.2, and its price dropped from $360 down to $260. This is a good amount of changes, but its upgrades got split up much less than the Dart Monkeys did. In BTD5, the Tack Shooter's top path spent the first 2 upgrades increasing its attack speed, making it shoot every 0.66 seconds with faster shooting and even faster shooting. The third upgrade, Tack Sprayer, makes it shoot 16 tacks instead of 8, and the Tier 4, Ring of Fire, changes its attack to a deadly ring of flames instead of tack. These flames get extra range, shoot 42% faster, and increase its pierce to 60. As for the bottom path, the first 2 upgrades give the Tack Shooter more range. The third, Blade Shooter, turns the tacks into blades that have more pierce and are larger, so it's easier to hit the balloons, and the Tier 4 upgrade, Blade Maelstrom, gives the Tack Shooter an ability to spray blades in all directions. A few things did change in BTD6 though. The top path still opens with the 2 attack speed upgrades, but the Tier 3 upgrade switched from Tack Sprayer to Hot Shot. So instead of shooting 16 tacks, it stays at 8, but these white hot tacks deal +1 damage and are hot enough to pop lead and frozen balloons. This serves as a great transition upgrade as the Tier 4 stayed as the Ring of Fire. It attacks faster and deals more damage than in BTD5, but has half as much pierce. And for the new Tier 5 upgrade, we got the Inferno Ring. This buffs basically everything about the Ring of Fire and gives it a new attack that shoots global meteors at the balloons. The middle path did not change much between games though, as it's basically just the bottom path of BTD5. It leads off with extra range, moves into shooting blades, and gets the Maelstrom ability. The only difference is that some of these upgrades also add to its pierce, letting the tacks or blades hit more balloons per attack. And for the new Tier 5 upgrade, we have the Super Maelstrom, which makes the ability better and lets the blades pop lead and frozen balloons. And the bottom path is almost completely new. The first 3 upgrades increase how many tacks it shoots per attack, going from the base of 8 to 10, 12, and then 16 per shot. This 16 is the Tack Sprayer upgrade from BTD5, but it also gives each tack +1 pierce. Then the Tier 4 upgrade, Overdrive, makes the Tack Shooter attack 3 times as fast, and the new tier 5 upgrade is the Tack Zone. This makes it attack even faster, shoot 32 tacks per shot, and deals extra damage to Moab class balloons. And of course, we have the Crucible of Steel and Flame, the Tack Shooter Paragon. This constantly fires a short-range spray of white hot blades, each of which break into 6 heated tacks when they expire. Plus, it has 2 abilities. The first makes projectiles last twice as long, massively increases its pierce, and gives it a new attack of close-range flames. And the second blasts a huge meteor at a target, causing a massive explosion and breaks into a ring of 32 homing fireballs. Moving on, we have the Boomerang Monkey. In both games, it does 1 damage, but it has 1 more pierce in BTD6 and attacks slightly faster, throwing every 1.2 seconds instead of every 1.33. And his price dropped from $380 to $315. His upgrades were mostly unchanged though. The top path in both games focused on pierce and bouncing glaives. The first 3 upgrades let each boomerang hit more balloons per throw, and the third makes it automatically bounce from balloon to balloon, getting the most out of its pierce. What's interesting though is BTD5's tier 4 upgrade, the Glaive Lord, got moved to BTD6's tier 5 upgrade. On top of just getting moved up, he also got a few buffs to justify being a tier 5 tower. He now deals 7 more damage per hit, gets even more damage to ceramics and Moabs, his glaives can re-hit balloons after a short time, he got a 3rd rang to orbit around him, and he can now inflict a shredding damage over time effect to Moab class balloons. To bridge the gap between Glaive Ricochet and the Glaive Lord, BTD6 added a tier 4 upgrade called More Glaives that gives it more pierce, attack speed, and better bounces. BTD5's bottom path did not stay the same, however. It got split up and expanded upon. In the previous game, it started off with Sonic Boom and Red Hot Rangs, which lets the boomer pop frozen and lead balloons. Then it goes into attack speed upgrades in the Bionic Boomer and Turbocharge. The first lets it throw boomerangs twice as fast as before, and Turbocharge gives it an ability that drastically increases its attack speed for 10 seconds. In 6, they took this attack speed concept and built the middle path around it. The first 2 upgrades are faster throwing and faster rangs, each making the boomer attack 33% faster. Then it reuses Bionic Boomerang and Turbocharge for the tier 3 and 4 upgrades. They do roughly the same thing as before, but slightly better. Bionic Boomerang attacks just over 5 times as fast, and the Turbocharge also adds 1 damage when the ability is active. And the new tier 5 upgrade makes this attack speed permanent, meaning the Permacharge upgrade 7x's its attack speed, deals 4 damage per hit, and the ability changes to give it plus 8 damage for 15 seconds. But this means BTD6's bottom path is mostly new. It opens with long range rangs, which gives 33% more attack range, and the second tier reuses red hot rangs from BTD5. Here though, it lets the boomer pop lead and frozen balloons while also giving it plus 1 damage. So it combined Sonic Boom, Red Hot Rangs, and gave it a damage buff. But the rest of the path is new. The third upgrade is Kylie Boomerang that makes the boomer throw in a straight line instead of curved, and the boomerangs can re-hit balloons on their way back to the monkey. The tier 4 upgrade is Moab Press, which lets it knock back Moab class balloons, making it a very good staller in the late game, and the tier 5 upgrade is Moab Domination. This guy gets extra damage, pierce, attack speed, and much better knockback rangs. If you can afford it, he can just about win you a game. Next, we have the Bomb Tower. Not only did it get renamed to the Bomb Shooter in BTD6, it also got its pierce cut down from 40 to 22, and its price dropped from $650 to $375. Its attack speed, damage, and upgrades remain about the same though, with only some getting shifted around. BTD5's top path starts off with extra range and frag bombs. The first gives it more attack range, and the tier 2 makes each explosion shoot out 8 sharp fragments that pop even more balloons. This adds a bit of crowd control, but the tier 3 cluster bombs kicks this up a notch. It turns these frag bombs into secondary bombs, creating way more explosions. And the path is rounded out with balloon impact, which causes the explosions to stun balloons when damaging them. The bottom path is centered around blimp damage. It begins pretty normal with bigger bombs, which makes the explosions larger, and missile launcher, which lets the projectiles fly farther and faster. But tiers 3 and 4 are where they gain their blimp damage. The tier 3 Moab Mauler makes the missiles deal 10 times damage to Moab class balloons, and Moab Assassin, the tier 4 upgrade, gives the Bomb Shooter an ability to deal 1000 damage to a blimp, one-shotting anything weaker than a ZOMG. Ninja Kiwi clearly liked these groupings as most of them were kept together in BTD6. To do this though, we need to invent a whole new theme of upgrades. So the top path is almost all new and revolves around massive stunning explosions. It opens with bigger bombs, which increases their pierce and gives it a larger blast area. It follows this up with heavy bombs, which adds 10 more pierce and 1 damage to the explosions, and the tier 3 upgrade, Really Big Bombs, does this again, increasing its damage to 3 and pierce all the way to 80. But here is where they reused Balloon Impact. This tier 4 upgrade is almost the exact same as in BTD5, but here it stuns balloons for 1.4 seconds instead of 0.5. And the new tier 5 upgrade, Balloon Crush, makes this way better. For a massive price tag, it increases the damage to 24 and can stun and push back Moab class balloons, making it one of the best stallers in the game. As for the middle path, it kept the anti-blimp theme. It starts off with faster reload, which increases its attack speed, but the tier 2, 3, and 4 upgrades remain the same, being Missile Launcher, Moab Mauler, and Moab Assassin. Some of their stats did change in that the Moab Mauler now deals 16 damage to Moabs instead of 10 times. The Moab Assassin's ability deals 750 damage instead of 1000, and its main attack got bumped up to 31 damage versus blimps. But we got another brand new tier 5. Enter the Moab Eliminator. It brings the ability to a whole other level, as it deals 4500 damage to its target, and the cooldown is 1/3 as long. Plus, its main attack does 100 damage to Moab class balloons. And the bottom path is all about countering dense rushes. It opens with 3 upgrades we've seen before: extra range, frag bombs, and cluster bombs, all of which were basically unchanged. The next 2 upgrades are brand new though. The tier 4 recursive cluster makes the cluster bomb send out more cluster bombs with every other shot, letting the same target get hit up to 17 times. And the tier 5 attacks twice as fast, deals 5 damage per explosion, creates recursive explosions every shot, and gains a passive ability that deals 2000 damage to every balloon on screen if a life is lost. On to the Ice Tower, which got renamed to the Ice Monkey in BTD6, and surprisingly, its base stats changed a ton. In BTD5, it deals 0 damage and has infinite pierce, while in BTD6, it does 1 damage with 40 pierce. As for price, it actually went up from $300 to $500. The attack speed and freeze duration remained about the same though. As for the upgrades, a couple got deleted, others got renamed, some moved around, and plenty were added. In BTD5, neither path had a theme and the upgrades jumped around. The top path got going with enhanced freeze, which increased the Ice Tower's range by 25% and freeze duration to 2 seconds. Its tier 2 upgrade, Snap Freeze, added 1 damage to this freezing attack, so it actually does damage now. Arctic Wind, its 3rd upgrade, adds a super cold aura around the tower that slows all the balloons that pass through it. This was actually a massive 75% slow and is one of the best upgrades in the game. And the tier 4 Viral Frost caused the balloons to freeze so cold that they could freeze other balloons that come in contact with them, spreading the freeze like a virus. As for the bottom path, its first tier was Permafrost, which makes the balloons move at half speed even after thawing out. The next tier is Deep Freeze, which lets the Ice Tower freeze 2 layers of a balloon instead of just 1, so you can damage the balloons without instantly unfreezing them. Ice Shards, the 3rd upgrade, adds a new way to deal damage as it creates razor sharp pieces of ice frozen on balloons that when popped, fly out and pop nearby ones. And the tier 4 upgrade, Absolute Zero, adds an ability to freeze every balloon on screen for 4 seconds. This got changed up a bit in BTD6 to make each path flow better. The top path is now all about supporting other monkeys. The first 2 upgrades are pretty generic in Permafrost and Cold Snap. Permafrost works the same as in BTD5, but Cold Snap is a new one. This tier 2 upgrade lets the Ice Monkey pop lead and camo balloons. Then its 3rd upgrade, Ice Shards, builds off this, as on top of shooting out ice shards when frozen balloons pop, it removes camo and regrow properties off the balloons it damages. While nice already, this gets very supporty with the tier 4 upgrade, Embrittlement. When he hits a balloon or blimp, they become temporarily vulnerable to sharp and freezing attacks, take +1 damage from every attack, and it can decamo DDTs. And the tier 5 Super Brittle bumps us up even farther as it attacks faster, applies permafrost to blimps, buffs the ice shards part of its attack, and makes every balloon it hits take +4 damage from every attack. BTD6's middle path is all about slowing down the balloons, as if the top path didn't do enough of that already. The first upgrade is Enhanced Freeze, but it's slightly better than the BTD5 version. Here it freezes the balloons for a little longer and gives the Ice Monkey +33% attack speed. The tier 2 Deep Freeze is also better in this game. In 6, it increases the Ice Monkey's pierce from 40 to 45, lets it freeze an extra layer of balloons, and freezes balloons for longer. The 3rd upgrade in this path reuses Arctic Wind, but it got a bit worse. Instead of a 75% slow, it's only 40%, but it gets a cool new perk where it can freeze water inside its slowing radius, letting you place land towers on this ice platform. This extends to the next 2 upgrades, Snowstorm and Absolute Zero, but they got more than just that. The tier 4 gets extra range and an ability to freeze the whole screen for 6 seconds, but it's only half effective versus blimps, camos, whites, and zebras. This ability gets much better with the Absolute Zero, as it freezes every balloon on screen for 10 seconds, whether they're freeze immune or not. Plus, it gets even more range and makes other ice monkeys attack +50% faster. And for the bottom path, it's actually all about range and utility, and all 5 upgrades are new to the series. It starts off with larger radius, which gives it more range, and moves into the tier 2 upgrade Refreeze. As you might have guessed, this lets the Ice Monkey refreeze balloons that are already frozen, instead of waiting for them them to thaw out. But tiers 3 and up are where things get interesting. Cryo Cannon, the third upgrade, turns the Ice Monkey from a tower that freezes balloons around it to a monkey that shoots ice bombs over a long range. These ice bombs deal 2 damage and have 40 pierce, but the freeze time is reduced from 1.5 to 1.2 seconds. After this, we have icicles for the tier 4 upgrade. This makes the balloons it freezes grow sharp icicles on top of them that act as mini spike piles. This is similar to ice shards, but they don't have to be popped to deal damage. This upgrade also lets the Ice Monkey shoot blimps directly, though it only deals damage and doesn't slow them down. This changes with the tier 5 upgrade though, Icicle Impale. It now shoots huge icicle spikes that deal 50 damage to Moab class balloons and freezes them, making it an excellent late game staller. And the final primary monkey we have is the Glue Gunner. The base stats are almost identical, with the only real change being its price drop from $270 to $225. The other stats remain constant at 0 damage, 1 pierce, attacks about once per second, and slows balloons to half speed. The upgrades were almost untouched too. In fact, the Glue Gunner's top path was just moved from BTD5 over to BTD6. The names are the same and the stats are almost identical. The only 2 changes are giving the 3rd and 4th tiers extra ceramic damage, and the 4th tier, Bloon Liquefier, now leaves puddles of acid on the track after it destroys a balloon, which damage new balloons that pass over them. But Ninja Kiwi had to make a tier 5 upgrade, so it introduced the Bloon Solver. This increases attack speed, pierce, damage, and makes the acid puddles much better. As for BTD6's middle path, it's almost exactly the same as the bottom path from BTD5. The only big change is the first upgrade. In BTD5, it was stickier glue, which makes the glue effect last much longer, but now it's bigger globs, which adds 1 pierce. This makes more sense for the middle path, as the theme is gluing as many balloons as possible. Tiers 2, 3, and 4 follow this and are the same as in BTD5. They increase his pierce to 6, triple his attack speed, and give him an ability to glue every balloon on screen. Something new about the tier 4 ability though, is that it makes glued balloons take +2 damage from every attack and temporarily lose their frozen and lead properties. Then, the tier 5 upgrade that got added in BTD6 is called Glue Storm, and it makes the ability even better. Now, the raining glue lasts 20 seconds and will continue to re-glue balloons until the ability is over. But because almost every upgrade was reused, the bottom path is almost completely new. The only upgrade coming over from BTD5 is stickier glue. This makes a ton of sense, as here, this path is all about slowing the balloons as much as possible, and it slots right in as the first upgrade of the path. The tier 2 upgrade is stronger glue, which makes the glue slow balloons by 75% instead of 50%. Tiers 3 and up are where things get good though. The third upgrade is Moab glue, which makes the Glue Gunner able to glue blimps and slow them down by 37.5%, which is amazing for the late game. The tier 4 Relentless glue creates stuns if glued balloons get popped, and the tier 5 is Super glue. This glue is so strong that it brings most balloons to a halt, while stronger blimps like BFBs and ZOMGs get slowed by 95 and 90% respectively. And to stop this guy from permanently stalling around, he deals 30 damage per shot to blimps and corrodes balloons by 20 damage per second. But that was how every primary monkey changed from BTD5 to BTD6. If you want me to make this for all the military monkeys, leave a like or comment below to let me know.